Some people do not have the courage to end things with honesty. They choose to disappear. No drama, no arguments, no word of goodbye. One day everything seems normal. The next day their voice turns colder, and soon the messages grow fewer until there is only silence. You never get an explanation. You just realize you have been removed from their life quietly. What hurts is not only losing a relationship. What cuts deeper is the effortless coldness, as if you never existed in their world. There is no stage for final words, no ritual to mark an ending, only darkness swallowing every question that will never be answered. Psychology calls this the silent discard. It makes you doubt everything you once experienced. Was any of it ever real? You replay the memories, searching for a clue, a crack, a missed sign. But the more you search, the more lost you feel. Not because you are weak, but because the mind hates emptiness. When there is no information, it creates stories to fill the gap. You do not just lose someone. You lose your sense of certainty about yourself. But there is a truth few people will tell you. There is a way to respond, and it does not require shouting, confrontation, or demanding justice. That response is your disappearance, not vanishing to gain their attention, and not as a manipulative game. It is a conscious decision to withdraw from what no longer respects you, to return the silence to the place that threw it at you first. Because what truly unsettles the one who leaves is not your anger, but the moment they turn around and realize you are no longer there. This video does not promote revenge. It is a map of emotional self-mastery through Stoic wisdom. You stop chasing answers and become the answer yourself. You learn to use silence as a mirror, to reflect what they failed to see when they had the chance, and to reflect what you yourself had forgotten. From the victim of a signal loss, you become the one holding the script. You do not need an ending written in words. Your dignified absence is the final line. When someone leaves you in silence, the most painful part is not that they are gone, it is that you do not know why. There is no goodbye, no explanation, only emptiness. And because humans need reasons to make sense of the world, your mind starts to create stories to fill that void. You replay every moment, analyze every word and glance, searching for a sign you might have missed. But the more you search, the more lost you become. The truth is, there is nothing to understand. It was never your fault. It was their choice. The human brain hates unfinished things. When there is no closure, your mind remains in a constant state of waiting. It makes you think about them repeatedly, check your phone, and hope for an explanation. Psychology calls this the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished experiences occupy space in the mind. And when the other person chooses silence, you become trapped in a loop with no exit, torn between wanting to let go and wanting to understand. Worse still, their disappearance makes you doubt yourself. You begin to wonder, was I not good enough? Did I do something wrong? At that moment, you do not just lose the other person. You lose faith in yourself. Their silence becomes a distorted mirror through which you see yourself through guilt. But the Stoics teach that you are not responsible for the actions born from another person's cowardice. Healing begins the moment you stop trying to understand, because not everything needs an answer. Some things simply need acceptance, and when you accept that their silence does not define your worth, you reclaim the power you lost. From that moment, the emptiness is no longer a place of suffering, but the foundation on which you rebuild yourself, with clarity, calm, and the strength of a disciplined mind. After a silent discard, most people fall into the same trap, demanding answers. They want to understand why the other person went silent, to hear an apology, an explanation, or at least a sign that their relationship once meant something. But the Stoic understands one thing. Asking for answers from someone who has chosen silence is a way of dragging yourself into their abyss, because that silence is already the answer. And that answer says they are not mature enough to face the truth, not brave enough to speak honestly, and not honorable enough to end things responsibly. The moment you understand this, you stop being the victim. You become the one holding the script again. Silence is no longer the tool they use to punish you. It becomes the opportunity you use to regain emotional control. The Stoic does not look for answers outside. They observe their reactions within. Instead of asking, "Why did they do that?" they ask, "Why did I allow myself to be controlled by it?" This question marks the turning point toward inner freedom. This is the moment when silence becomes a shield, not a wound. You stop sending messages, stop explaining, stop seeking validation from those no longer worthy of it. You do not take revenge. You simply pull your energy back to where it belongs, to yourself. Every time you choose not to react, you are declaring, "I am no longer part of the old story." And that is what leaves the one who once controlled the narrative completely lost. The strength of Stoicism lies in conscious response. It is not about staying silent to see how they will react, but staying silent because you understand there is nothing left worth reacting to. This is not coldness. It is emotional intelligence at its highest level, where you can separate yourself from the chaos. When you are no longer drawn into emotional games, you become unpredictable. And in the world of those who manipulate, unpredictability means loss of control. From a psychological perspective, this creates deep insecurity in their mind. They begin to wonder, what happened? Why are they silent now? Do they still care? It is in that moment that you have reversed the game, not through action, but through non-action. You do not need to prove that you are stronger. You only need to stop playing the game they believed you would keep playing forever. The turning point is not when they apologize. The turning point is when you no longer need that apology. When you stop seeking justice from the mouth of someone who chose silence, you begin to find justice in your own calm. From that moment, your silence is no longer a reaction, but a decision. And every decision like that has the power to redefine the balance of control. Disappearing is not running away, nor is it a tactic to make someone regret their actions. In Stoic thought, disappearing is a conscious act, a way to restore inner order and end what is no longer healthy. When you are silently discarded, your first instinct is often to react, to text, to demand explanations, to prove that you did not deserve such treatment. But that only pulls you deeper into their trap, where their silence dictates your behavior. Purposeful disappearance is the act of cutting that string. It is when you choose to leave the board entirely, allowing the game to end not through victory, but through your refusal to keep playing. Purposeful disappearance does not mean erasing everything from your life or blocking them on every platform. It is a strategic withdrawal, silent yet intentional. You stop texting, stop explaining, stop posting updates to show that you are fine. You leave no signals, no reminders, nothing for them to guess what you are doing. Because when you still try to prove you are fine, you are still revolving around their orbit. But when you fully pull your emotional energy back to yourself, you break free from that orbit. In psychology, this is known as the withdrawal of reinforcement, the removal of emotional rewards that the other person once gained from your reactions. When you stop texting, stop explaining, stop responding, their brain, in which has been fed by your attention and emotional predictability, starts to panic. What they lose is not you, but their access to your emotions. And that is their real collapse. The Stoic does not stay silent to punish. They stay silent to protect the mind from the illusion of "I can change them," to protect energy from draining connections, and to protect dignity from having to beg for recognition. Purposeful withdrawal is a declaration of inner freedom. You no longer allow anyone else to decide when you are at peace. You create that peace yourself by walking away. More importantly, purposeful disappearance does not mean vanishing from life. It means reappearing at a new level, where you are no longer defined by anyone else's presence. You still live, still breathe, still go through ordinary days, but the difference is that you no longer waste energy trying to prove your worth to someone who failed to appreciate it. And that is when your silence begins to carry weight. It is not loud or dramatic, yet strong enough to make others realize they lost someone who was there, someone they never knew how to value. When you withdraw in silence, the first thing that breaks is not the relationship, but the other person's ego. They were used to being responded to, comforted, and explained to by you. Every reaction you gave was a form of confirmation that they still mattered. But when you stop speaking, stop showing up, and stop reacting, that reinforcement system collapses. They no longer feel seen. And in that moment, the panic of their ego begins. In truth, what they miss is not you. It is the feeling of controlling you. They cannot stand your silence, not because they love you, but because they cannot bear losing control over another person's emotions. When you become unpredictable, you take away their footing. Every attempt they once made to control through silence now backfires because you no longer react. They begin to question themselves. Do they still think about me? Are they happy now? Has someone else taken my place? Each of these questions cuts into their ego like a blade, and you do not have to do anything at all. The Stoic understands that when you stop giving away your energy, you do more than regain peace. You force others to face the emptiness within themselves. The emotional scarcity you create, your timely absence and steady silence, becomes something they cannot handle. For the ego exists only through others' reactions, while you are no longer a reflection of them. You do not need to shout to be heard. Just stay silent and let their ego collapse on its own. Because once they realize you are no longer someone they can control, your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their weakness. And at the same time, your strongest declaration. I no longer belong to this game. After being silently discarded, the most important thing is not understanding why they did it, but learning how to rise again. The Stoic believes that you cannot control what others do, but you can always control how you respond. And that is the foundation of recovery. A 30-day plan to help you regain calm, strength, and dignity. In the first days, do not try to understand and do not look for explanations. Stay silent and observe. Cut off connection. Do not text. Do not check their social media. And do not let yourself fall into reaction addiction. Allow your body to rest and let your mind settle. Write down what you feel, not to analyze it, but to release it. When you put your pain into words, it starts to take shape. And once it has form, you can finally let it go. In the following days, begin to rebuild inner discipline. Every morning, ask yourself 3 questions. What can I control? What is beyond my control? And how will I act on what remains? These simple questions, repeated daily, help you separate emotion from reality, because what hurts you is not the event itself, but the meaning you attach to it. And then, as stillness gradually becomes a habit, you realize you no longer need answers. You begin to read, take walks, care for yourself, and build small habits, all of which are forms of self-healing. Every day you choose not to react is a day you reclaim your power. The Stoics said, nothing is freer than a mind that knows how to remain still. When you reach that point, you no longer need to prove anything, because the calm within you becomes the evidence that you have already won, not anyone else. After you have partially healed and regained your composure, the next challenge often comes when the one who left returns or forces you into interaction. This is when emotions tend to rise again. One part of you wants to stay calm, while another part wants to react. The Stoic understands that this moment is the true test of maturity, because if you let emotions lead, you fall back into the same old cycle. But if you remain rational, you prove that you have truly changed, and that is why the minimal contact rule was created. This rule has one core principle: speak less, feel less, and maintain your boundaries. If you must communicate, speak with neutrality. Not defensive, not overly friendly, but not so cold that it becomes harsh. Your goal is not to make them understand, but to protect your peace. Every short, focused response reinforces the message. I am no longer easily controlled. The one who left you may try old tactics, a bit of warmth, a reminder of the past, or casual check-ins just to test your reaction. Recognize the game and refuse to play. Do not react quickly, do not reply immediately. Allow space between their words and your actions, because slowness is the mark of control. A grounded person does not respond on demand. They respond when they choose to, not when they are pulled in. Most importantly, minimal contact is not about proving your strength, but about building a fence to keep your energy safe. You do not need to block anyone to show that you are fine, nor do you need to act cold to earn respect. You only need to stay consistent, do not react, do not explain, and do not compromise. Because when you maintain this boundary, you prove what every Stoic understands. True peace does not come from avoiding people, but from not allowing anyone to disturb the stillness within you. When you truly stay silent and disappear, there comes a time when the one who left begins to panic. Not because they suddenly realize love, but because they have lost their sense of control. They once believed that by disappearing, you would chase them. By being cold, you would try to fix things. But when that does not happen, when you keep living calmly, without blame, without messages, without asking why, they begin to feel uneasy. They grow confused by your silence, then afraid. Because your silence is proof that they no longer hold power, that panic rarely shows through tears, but through subtle actions. They might send casual messages like, "How have you been?" or "Just wanted to check in." Those are not gestures of care. They are tests. They want to see if you still react, if they can still soften you like before. If you respond quickly, they feel reassured that control remains. But if you simply smile, stay silent, or reply briefly, they begin to lose balance. The once arrogant ego now stands before a mirror reflecting the truth. You no longer belong to them. The Stoic does not see this as a chance for revenge, but as a moment to practice discipline. They are not cold, they are calm. They understand that the other person's return does not always come from remorse, but often from the ego's reflex, a desire to regain lost power. Therefore, instead of opening the door or slamming it shut, they remain still. They do not allow anyone to disturb their inner world again. One day, the person who left will truly understand that losing you means losing something that cannot be bought back: safety, understanding, and peace. But by then, it will be too late. You will not need to say a word, because your silence itself has become the fairest judgment. Many people misunderstand what disappearing means. They think silence is a way to take revenge, to make the other person regret or remember them. But when you disappear with the purpose of being seen, you are still dependent on someone else's gaze. You have not truly let go. You are only trying to control in a different way. The Stoic does not stay silent to hurt others. They stay silent to protect their peace. The first common mistake is conditional silence. You say nothing, but you still hope they will notice. You still check your phone, scroll through social media, and wait for a message. That is not freedom, it is waiting in disguise. True silence is when you no longer expect any reaction, not an apology, not remorse. Because as long as you are waiting, you are still bound. The second mistake is pretending to be fine. Some people try to show how happy they are to prove they have moved on. But the Stoic needs no audience. True peace does not need display. Inner quiet matters more than any smile on social media. When you need others to see that you are fine, you are not truly fine yet. The third mistake is turning silence into a weapon. You stay silent to hurt them, hoping they will understand how you felt. But silence used for revenge only exhausts you further. The Stoic remains silent because they know a peaceful mind does not need to win every battle. And the greatest mistake of all is returning too soon. When loneliness comes, many open the door again to the one who once caused their pain. But loneliness is not an invitation to return. It is an opportunity to learn how to stand on your own. When you can sit quietly in silence without fear, you have truly become free. And that is the real meaning of disappearance. Withdrawing not to be remembered, but to be at peace. Some relationships do not end with goodbye, but with a cold silence. They walk away without a word, without explanation, leaving you in an empty space that feels meaningless. Yet strangely, that silence, if you know how to use it, can become the very beginning of your strength. The Stoics teach that it is not what others do to us that defines our worth, but how we respond to it. And when you choose silence, when you choose to walk away calmly instead of in anger, you reclaim the power they once held over you. A dignified absence is not an escape. It is a rebirth in quiet. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to post your pain or pretend to be fine. Those who have truly learned to rise again no longer need to speak. They simply live better, deeper, and freer. When you stop trying to be seen, you start becoming unforgettable. When you stop explaining, people begin to listen. And when you stop seeking justice from the one who left, you find fairness within your own peace. The calm you have today is your greatest victory. No noise, no declarations. Just waking up each morning without the weight in your chest. You no longer search for messages, wait for apologies, or live inside the question, why? Because you have realized that their silence no longer matters. It is your silence that speaks the loudest. You no longer need anyone's presence to feel whole, because you have become your own source of peace. One day the person who left may return, with an apology or with a look of regret. But when that day comes, you will simply smile, not out of bitterness, but because you now live somewhere they can no longer reach. It is not that you are higher, but that you are wiser. You do not need to win against anyone. You only need to stop losing to yourself. And that is the most beautiful form of revenge silence can offer: peace of mind. If what you heard today made you stop and think, if you feel you are on a journey of disappearing to rediscover yourself, leave a like so I know you are still here. Subscribe to the channel to continue learning how to master your emotions, master your silence, and build an inner world as steady as stone amid life's chaos. And comment one word: unbreakable. Because when you know how to stay silent without resentment, to disappear without weakness, you do not just survive, you are reborn.